I thank the gentleman. Chair, and I recognize Dr. Wenstrup for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. McWilliams, thank you for being here today. I know we've had some of these discussions before that I'd like to talk about today, and
Yes, sir.
I know you understand that I'm frustrated with DOE's recent decision to demobilize the uranium enrichment RD&D project in Piketon, Ohio, and I think it's incredibly short-sighted to do this, especially in light of the Iran deal, where we are seeing that the world's largest sponsor of state terrorism is now maintaining 6,000 centrifuges and continue to enrich uranium. DOE's decision to demobilize this project was based on data that was collected for a report that DOE was mandated by Congress to complete in April, which we received Monday night. And my question is, if the United States must have the technology for a fully domestic source of enriched uranium to support our nuclear navy, what's DOE's long-term plan to ensure that we do not lose the research and the workforce gains that were made in Piketon, Ohio, while also maintaining immediate production capabilities for a domestic source of enriched uranium? It seems like we're diving into a black hole, shutting things down when they're spinning things up, and as for a national security interest, we need to keep this maintained and ready to run.
Thank you, sir. And I want to answer that. I also wanted to say, in a related subject that we've been discussing, that per conversations that we had with you this week, we have been working to finalize our plan for spending under the CR pursuant to direction from the Secretary. We will be giving updated funding guidance and direction to FBP, the contractor, today to spend at a higher level to avoid involuntary layoffs for D&D activities at Portsmouth, which I recognize is separate, sir. And so the contractor is going to issue a notice to employees later today. To go to your exact question, sir, as we talked about last week, the first important point here is these potential layoffs are clearly regrettable, but the administration remains committed to reestablishing a domestic enrichment capability for national security.
My question, though, right now, and I appreciate that, is we are going to have a time down.
Yes, sir.
Where we do not have this capability up and running, and that's my concern.
Yeah.
The other thing is, when I spoke to the Secretary of Communities last night, I said, do you have an estimate of what the cost is to shut down the ACP, this project?
Yep.
And he said, no, I don't know. Let me get back to you. Now, to me, that's a huge component to the equation.
Sure.
If it costs $1 billion to shut it down,
No, it does not.
and I'm just throwing this out as an example,
Yeah.
but you don't know, he didn't know, and it cost $350 million, say, to maintain it for 7 years, and we're able to flip a switch and produce what we need to protect our country at a moment's notice.
Right.
Then that's the wise business decision, but he
Right.
didn't even know.
Okay, well,
I'm very concerned about that. You're making decisions on a report we were supposed to have in April that we didn't get.
Yes, sir.
And didn't get a chance to weigh in, and you don't even know what these costs are, and you're making a decision. I'm sorry, I find that really irresponsible and a threat to our national security capabilities.
So, sir, as we discussed, what we're talking about doing is having to stand down 120 test centrifuges. We do not have a capability. Those centrifuges don't have a capability today to provide us the material that we need. But the cost that you're referring to is approximately $100 to $150 million. Under our agreements with Centrus, they have obligations to pick up a very large portion of that, obviously provided they have the financial means to do that. That's the answer.
So let me ask you this. So when it comes to, say, tritium, I mean,
Yes, sir.
You say that the AC-100 design, that technology is as good as we have right now.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
That is the technology that we plan to use.
Okay, and the report indicates that building out a national security plant based on that technology would require 1,400 centrifuges.
Yes, sir.
So how can we meet our tritium needs and build out these 1,400 centrifuges if we're dismantling the 120 that we have?
Because the 120 that we have, the purpose of those was to continue to prove out the technology, and they've essentially neared the end of their useful life. They would not be centrifuges that we would add into the 1,400 for a variety of reasons. So what we are doing immediately, because we're not standing down, this is important to say this, that we are continuing with the program. We're not putting it in a cold standby. We will issue an RFI to build out. The issue, however, sir, is that it's going to take 5 to 7 years to reestablish that capability, but we are starting that now.
What is our capability when this plan is played out on a moment's notice to produce enriched uranium that we may need based on whatever may happen? In
That capability does not exist today. It does not exist today. It will take us 5 to 7 years to reestablish, but the standing down of the 120 centrifuges does not affect
But
that.
you say that they're at the end, but they're the only thing that we have.
But they're not running on, they're not producing material for
But
this
they
purpose.
could. My time has expired.